Mr. Bell will be with you shortly. Please have a seat.
Perfect.
What's up, everybody? I'd like to welcome you all to the very first episode of my podcast, the Biopsychosocial. First, I would like to begin by saying thank you for volunteering your time by downloading and pressing play to listen to my show. I'm super excited to have a platform where I can discuss everyday issues that I'm passionate about without the sophistication, the restrictions, the confusing jargon that come along with this helping profession. So what do I mean by that? Sometimes you're just going to hear some shit. And I'll say from the very start, excuse my language. So just a little bit about myself. Once again, my name is Gilbert M. Bell. I'm a credentialed alcohol and substance abuse counselor. I have a master's in social work. I've been in this profession for around 10 years now, I believe. But I'm super passionate about helping other individuals change their life, change their behaviors, change their mindsets, because that's something that really helps shape and lead to where I'm at now. My journey is not done, and I love to learn, and I love to learn from people. So, this is not about me giving you something. It's about what we could give each other, if you understand what I mean. So I like you guys to just sit back, relax and listen to some life experiences from myself, from others, and, take what you can take, get new ideas, get new ways of thinking, and let's have some fun. So I was thinking to myself, why so many people have a hard time changing, and, whether that be their attitude, whether that be their behavior, perspective. And I can understand that it could be comfortability. A lot of people are comfortable. It could be culture, and they were raised like this, so it's hard to see things in another way. And it could be straight up ignorance. It's you just refuse to learn something new. You just refuse to do something different. Then I go back to the process that I went through in my change, and I can say that it wasn't easy. It was a slow process over time, but I can say the key thing was that I was open enough to practice some different things, make some different decisions, see things differently, so I can make that change. And it was something that I used to tell a lot of the clients that I used to work with was, take the box off of your head. A lot of times, if you you put a box on your head, all you can see is what's directly in front of you. But if you take the box off, you get a bigger picture. And this was something that really stuck with me, because it was like a lot of times we have this tunnel vision, and the tunnel vision can be a great thing, but it also could be a destructive thing. So sometimes we definitely want to take the box off of our head and, look at things differently, look at the whole picture, analyze the whole picture, then possibly make a better, a healthier decision. Just to take you guys back to my humble beginnings, I'm from Brooklyn, New York, and I was raised by a great single parent mother. I'm the oldest of 4 brothers. My mother did the best she could to provide for me and my brothers. She did the best she could to expose us to as many things as she could. And, she brought us up really fairly decent. But the streets of Brooklyn in the 80s and the 90s, they were rough, and you had to really go into survival mode. My mother was really, she worked a lot, and she was really protective of us in regards to, like, we would be in the house most of the time. So a lot of the individuals in our neighborhood didn't know us unless they went to school with us, because we did go to school in the neighborhood, but going outside was something different. So a lot of the individuals, when we came outside, they would try to, play us. So they would try to punk us, and we're brothers. We're in the house. We going at it all day long. So now we get to take this aggression out on others. This was easy. It was easy. So just because you don't know us, man, that's on you, right? So we had to make our bones in our neighborhood for the most part. As far as I can remember, and I think I got this from my mother, like, I've always worked. I've always found a way to make some money, especially, when the kids in your class, they wearing all the labels and you don't got, trust and believe they was coming after you. And you had to protect yourself. Not, physically. I'm talking about like mentally. And this is another topic that I want to get into later on down the line in comparison with our youth today. So I had to make my, I had to make some moves to get the labels. I had to make some moves to put some money in my pocket. I would pack bags at the supermarket. I got a job at the barbershop sweeping hair. Whatever I could do to make some money, I did it. So with that being said, the barbershop was where all the neighborhood drug dealers hung out, the big boys. And I'm in the midst of this. I'm listening all day. I'm soaking in knowledge, and and they like me. I'm a young man. I'm doing something responsible. I'm not in the streets. They like me. They did what they could to protect me. So this was great. And then a few years passed. A few people went to jail. A few people got killed. So now it's a new era. It's an era of the young, and me and my friends, we took over. And this is where I could say the beginning of my learning process began, as far as I had to see things from both sides of the fence in order to get to where I'm at. And I'm look, people always ask the question, if you had the chance to do it all over again, would you, and what would you do differently? And I'm ambivalent about that. Like, most of the time I say no. I say no because I wouldn't be who I am if I didn't go through what I went through. And I want to say yes because I'm thinking like the knowledge that I have now, if I had it then, I'll be super great. But I wouldn't have the knowledge I have now if I didn't go through what I went through then. I'm ambivalent, but I lean more towards the side of no. So a few years passed by, and it's now 1999. And I have a friend who's a music artist. He's taking me all over to these different parties and meeting all different types of celebrities. I'm running back and forth out of town, doing what I do. And it was in December. It was a college party. He was telling me, let's go. And I remember being there in my house, and I'm looking at my outfit, and I'm looking at all of this work that I had to finish. And instead of putting on the outfit, I picked up the work, put it in my bag, and I headed out of town. That was the last time I seen the streets of Brooklyn until 2004. Perfect. 2004. So at that time, I was 20. 1999, I was 20. And I was about to turn 21. So from 20 to 25, I was incarcerated, right? So fast forward, those years passed by. Now I come home and, I'm on the straight and narrow because now I'm on parole. So I have to be on the straight and narrow. And I really hated parole. I hated for somebody to tell me how long I could be outside. I hated for somebody to come and check on me, or I have to go see somebody, every week, every month. I hated that I had to piss in a cup for urine. I hated the whole process. So I did what they asked me to do so that I could get it over with. And, I came home in 2004, and I was scheduled to be on parole until 2013. This was the best day of my life. It was one of the best days of my life, where I walked into the parole office, and my parole officer was like, where you been? Like, I've been looking for you. And I'm like, I've been home, I've been work. Like, what you looking, like, you know where to find me? He says, you're off of parole, right? This is 2006. The man says, you're off of parole, right? And I'm like, what are you talking about? Man, he's like, yeah, they let you go. You was doing what you got to do, so they let you go. I'm like, are you serious? He's like, yeah, I've been trying to get in contact with you for like a week. So, I'm in shock. I'm in disbelief. I tell him, okay, so, he had me fill out all these papers and everything. And I swear, like, I did not leave this room until I really verified to this man, like, sir, listen, I don't have to come back here anymore. I don't have to do nothing. Like, you telling me if I don't come back, I'm not going to get in trouble? So he's like, yeah, you good. Everything is finished. When I left that building, I just walked in that building not too long ago. When I left, I was in a new world. Like, it seemed like I was in a whole nother space that I'd never seen before. And it was one of the greatest feelings because I didn't have anybody on my back. I didn't have nobody telling me what to do. I could do what I want once again after years of being commanded. So you would think that after that whole experience, I learned my lesson. Nope. Fast forward 2 years later, I'm back in hot water. I'm facing another 2 years. I'm facing 2 years. And the thing is, I was ready to, go to trial. I was ready to do everything because I felt like I can't go through this again. I'm not about to do no 2 years. I'm going to take my chances. It is what it is. And, my wife, the mother of my children, she was like, she just had my daughter. And she was like, they offering you a program. Why don't you see if you could, why don't you do that? At least you won't have to be up, go up north, go to jail, and at least you could come home every now and then, and I could see you, you could see your child. And as pissed as I was about even taking that, I did it. I took the program. All right. So as I'm in the program, I'm completely resistant. Like, I do not want to be here. I hated it because it was not for me. Like, it just, this was a treatment program. And I was like, I don't need treatment. I don't even do drugs. Like, I wasn't smoking any marijuana. I wasn't drinking any alcohol. I was clean. And I had to be in this place that I did not agree with. So one day I woke up and they have like a day room where you go. I woke up really early in the morning and I walked to the day room. As I turn into the room, there's a table, and on this table is a book. I pick up this book. The title is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Some of you may have heard of it. Some of you may not. I would highly suggest you guys take a look or a listen to this book. This book was one of the key factors that ignited my behavior change. I wasn't there yet, but this was a tool that ignited it, because the information in this book helped to change the way I think and my perspective on things. I picked it up because I see Think and Grow Rich, and I'm just thinking about money, how to make this money. And I got so much more from it. This was destiny, because it's not where you want to be, it's where you need to be. If I never did what I did, been wound up where I was, I would have never picked up that book. Fast forward. So I'm in the program and, I'm slowly, changing my mind. I was always a smart kid. So, I had some wits about me or whatever. And one day I got in trouble. And that made me so mad because I got in trouble. I was selling candy and I was selling it on the females floor. And somebody told on me. And I was so pissed. I was so mad. Because I'm just trying to make money. I would sell candy, send it back to my wife. And somebody told on me. So I'm pissed. And I'm in my bed and I'm thinking, like, this shit has to stop. This is too much. This has to change. And the reason why I'm saying this to myself is because I keep putting myself in situations that give somebody else control over my life. Like, how the hell I get in trouble for selling some candy? Like, this doesn't make sense to me. Like, how is this even punishable? So I flipped the switch. Like, this said, you know what? That was the straw that broke the camel's back. That was my aha moment. Like, it's time to do something different. So in the program, they had training programs options that, you can, let's say, learn how to drive a truck. You could go to culinary school. You could, what else they had? They had a few things. I can't remember them all top, but I used to always try to convince myself that I was going to drive trucks. And at the time, I really did not like driving. Like, driving was not my thing. I didn't own a car. I knew how to drive, but I didn't have a car. So I knew I didn't like driving. But then somebody came to me and they said, they have a staff and training program. And I was like, what's that? And they said, well, they'll send you to school. They'll, pay for you to go to school. They'll train you. They'll put you in an internship with them, with the organization that I was in, and they'll pay you. When you finish, they'll give you a completion check also, and they'll offer you a job. The light bulbs, went berserk in my head. Light bulbs went berserk. So I said, send that. I need that. Let me get that, please. Send that. I need that. I did the program. Fast forward, completed. Fast forward, got me a job. I was with this organization for 7 years. I started my internship with them in 2010. I was hired in 2011, and things were great. Like, it was awesome. A few years passed by. I'm doing my thing, and I can remember the first time I got comfortable.
Perfect.
Now, let me be honest. So, to me, comfortability is one of the biggest factors in why people don't change. And I was in that space. And anytime I get in that space, I need to check myself. And I hope that someone around me, my support system, can check me also when I get comfortable. So, I'm working. I'm a credentialed alcohol and substance abuse counselor trainee, a CASAC-T. And I have to take my CASAC exam to become credentialed alcohol and substance abuse counselor. So I'm procrastinating in a sense where they gave me such responsibility at the job where they made me feel like I was in a higher position than I was. And then we got these interns in, these social work interns in, and they gave me an intern, and I got my office and I'm doing big, great things. Then the interns leave. They graduate, semester's over, and one day one of the interns return, and they come to me and they say, you're gonna have to come out of this office so we could give it to her. Completely blew my mind and put me in a space where I felt betrayed. I felt discouraged. There were a lot of emotions going on at that time, but I had to snap out of it, and I had to tell myself that this happened because you got comfortable. So within like the next week or two, I registered for the exam. By the following month, I passed my exam, had my CASAC. That was the first lesson, hardcore lesson that I got in comfortability and not continuing to change and evolve. I tell a lot of people, the dinosaur has no friends because they're dead. They refuse to evolve. They didn't change to adapt to their environment and continue to live. This is why I have a lot of empathy when it comes to a lot of my clients, friends, family, when I can noticeably see that they're stuck and all they have to do is make a slight change or a big change, and things could look a whole lot better in their lives. Does this mean that my life is perfect? No, I am far from perfect. I'm not perfect. I just continue to make improvement. I am improvement. So remember, I'm not perfect. I'm improvement. So when I talk to individuals about change and, modifying their behavior, is definitely something that I'm willing to try myself, or it's definitely something that I believe that you would benefit from if you try it for yourself. Most people spend a lot of time worrying about what other people would think about them when they are making a change that's not the norm, the end thing, or the latest trend of whatever identified group they feel connected to. That could be culturally, socially, economically, et cetera, et cetera. And it could also be a combination of those systems. And what typically happens is this leads to this individual taking no action, which results in no change. I tell a lot of people, because I concluded this throughout my change process, so I pass this message on. Most people want you to behave how they want you to behave and will try to make you feel insecure when you don't behave how they want you to behave. What this does is plant seeds of doubt. And I'll give you an example. You can have the hottest or what you believe is the hottest idea, or you can have a plan to make this miraculous improvement to yourself. And you share this idea or you share this goal with a family member, a friend, your spouse, whoever you feel confident enough to share this with. And you tell them all about it and you're excited and, you're ready to go. And one of the first things that may come out their mouth is like, are you sure? That's hard. Such and such was doing that and this is what happened. I don't think you could do that. And, at the moment you may be like, listen, I'm going to do it. It's, I don't care what nobody say. It is what it is. And you can't tell me nothing. But then maybe later that night, maybe a couple days later, maybe when you hit your first barrier, guess what you start hearing? That person. And you start doubting everything that you are trying to accomplish. What you do, you put it down and you don't go back to it. This, once again, no action leads to no change. Please separate yourself from those individuals who talk negative on your positive. Separate yourself from individuals who are consistently negative. Don't indulge in people's failures. People will tell you what they can't do. They will always tell you what they can't do and try to convince you that you can't either.
Perfect.
I was speaking with a few of my friends from Facebook, and one question that I asked, I got a few responses, was, what is a behavior you had to change in efforts to become successful? And I got a response from a young lady, Rakisha Dandridge. She's the CEO and owner of Addition Kitchen, LLC. And she said that she had to come out of her comfort zone. Here we go back to that comfort. You understand what I'm saying? You see, this is really relevant. I had to come out of my comfort zone and push myself past my own mental limits and cook from my soul, despite what anyone else thought of the path that I chose to take. This is exactly what I was talking about. People will try to convince you that what you're doing is not what you should be doing. Another saying that I come up with all these sayings, but another saying that I often pass on to people is get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Once you find that things are too comfortable, take a look at what's going on, because something ain't right or things may go wrong. You understand what I'm saying? Another one of my buddies, I'm so proud of this guy, Sean Brown. He's a principal in the New York Department of Education. He has a PhD in urban education with a specialization in educational policy and leadership. And he said that he had to change his mindset about a lot of things like friendships, where he realized that several people that have that title, that they didn't really have his best interest at heart, right? Or his best interest in mind. He said that he had a toxic masculinity belief, where he realized that taking care of his responsibilities and loving his woman and providing for his children was more masculine than fighting with people, right? He said that he had to get his spirituality together and join a local congregation and get connected with God. And then he said he needed counseling. He dealt with anger issues, dad issues. And this is kind of a common denominator, common factor amongst a lot of young men, especially African American black young men. We'll touch on those in later episodes, but this was his change process. Today he's able to hold a PhD. He's a principal, leading a lot of other young people into a path, hopefully, of success. I read a quote from Tim Ferriss. He's the author of The 4-Hour Workweek. He said, most people are fast to stop you before you get started, but hesitate to get in the way when you're moving. And what I got from that is that once that it goes back to what I said. You start telling people your plans and what you want to do, and they're quick to pump your brakes. You haven't even got any traction. You haven't even got any motion, and already they want to pump your brakes. This is what I'm gonna leave you with, people. Get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Be who you want to be, regardless of what they say. People will always have something to say. People will always have something to say. Do what makes you happy. Do what makes you feel good. You have to understand, this is your life. This is your world. You are the master of your world. This 6 feet in front of me, behind me, on the side of me is my world, and I control it. I rule over it. It's my domain, and nobody is going to tell me how to shape it. Nobody's going to tell me where the plants go, where the trees go, where the water goes. I'm going to put it where I want to put it, and I hope that you do the same. The biopsychosocial is how the treatment plan is developed. We have to take a look at all different aspects of our life and set some goals, and we have to set objectives to reach our goals. And I hope that each and every one of you who listening to this reach your goals, live a happy, healthy, prosperous life. I'm Gilbert and Bell, and you've been listening to the Biopsychosocial. Be sure to tune in for my next episode. All you got to do is download on your favorite streaming apps like iTunes, Spotify, and Anchor. Please, if you got value out of this, share it with somebody, because we never know whose life we can impact with our experiences. And remember, I'm a different type of worker, so don't try this at home. Good night, everyone.
Perfect.